Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor into Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Hakudash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone. Shalom, salutation to all you sincere Akims across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kasamaga from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua Ba'ashem, Hakudash, for the elect. This is another edition of the Watchtower, and in this edition, there's going to be some serious stuff that's going to be brought out through the spirit, and Lord willing, I'm able to bring it out as efficiently as possible, to warn the elect out of the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you true Israelites, the sons of the power, warn you, in particular, the elect, 144,000 and one-third of the impending doom and destruction and persecution that's getting ready to come down. Things are going to shift, and speaking of shift, things are going to shift very soon and drastically, and Esau, the devil that the Bible speaks of, is getting ready to make his move to bring about the final hour, the hour of temptation. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into it, because there's a few details that needs to be brought out, and of course being backed up with scriptures. This is out of WashingtonTimes.com. It says Schiff, all right, and Schiff. This is Adam Schiff, Democratic representative of California. It says Schiff seeks rule that will block oversight of some military operations. All right, so and this is something that I heard about. I think it was last week. I slightly spoke about it at camp this past Saturday, and going into just preparing our souls for the days that are ahead. And this is Representative Adam Schiff, Democratic of California, a member of the House Select. It says Rep. Adam B. Schiff, Chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, wants a defense policy bill to include language blocking Congress from oversight of the military and National Guard in some cases of domestic deployment. So you talking about the military or National Guard being deployed domestically, meaning in the United States, right? And he definitely wants what he wants. He wants he passed this amendment. Well, he presented a bill. It hasn't gotten passed yet, but it needs to be passed before it becomes law. But the House does have enough vote to pass it, so it is going to pass. All right, and we're gonna get into it. And basically, he wants to make sure that the checks and balances of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and judiciary branch, he's trying to break it to a certain extent to allow the executive branch, which is the president, to basically have unilateral decision on what to do in regards to United States citizens that the executive branch deems to be extremist or anti, agenda, whatever agenda they got going on, which we already know what that agenda is about, because we're talking about the Edomites, right? The so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. You talking about the New World Order. You're talking about the Rothschilds and the Rockefeller, the banking families, and what they're trying to accomplish spiritually. All right, and that's basically what's going on. It said the amendment is poised to be added to the National Defense Authorization Act, right, the NDAA, because the NDAA, you have to pass a new bill. You have to present a new NDAA bill every year, all right? And I think I made a video about the NDAA, which I'm going to bring that up, of 2021. And Lord willing, I'm going to go into the NDAA of 2022, going on to 2023, and what Esau has planned. And I'm not going to get the whole thing, just certain particular notes and codes. As I was reading the bill, I didn't read all of it. I mean, kind of let the Spirit guide me on certain codes, because it's long, man. You're talking about, it's super long, man. I don't know how these representatives congressmen read these pages in a matter of a week and all that. It's just so many details. You just gotta. It's really tedious. But let's go. It says the amendment is poised to be added to National Defense Authorization Act, which the House plans to take up this week. All right. So he came up with this bill last week, and they're supposed to vote this week. He gave him 2 weeks to read that. Unless those congressmen don't have a life, there's no way in hell you're gonna read that what I just skimmed through in 2 weeks in details and make the appropriate adjustments. So most of these things get signed, they get passed. Everybody's all bought and sold, So we already know what's going on. It says which the House plans to take up this week, and it has drawn criticism from Republicans who fear Mr. Schiff is trying to preemptively block them from oversight if their party wins the House majority in November elections. All right, so now let's jump, because like I said, through the spirit, we're just trying to be as efficient as possible. So this is the bill. All right, this is the NDAA Act for fiscal year 2023. Okay. And as the sponsor is Rep. Smith, Adam, right? So now let's go to and the bill is HR 7900, HR 7900, and let me see. So let's go here. Well, actually, you see right here, 117th Congress, 2122. All right, so. Now let's go to what I want to do. I think what I did was actually, it comes up right here. Union calendar, HR 7900, and okay. So I want to go to I want to read a few codes here that kind of stood out to me. So I want to go to subtitle B, right? Military Authority, Division of Department, Defense. Okay, so subtitle B. I think what I seen was subtitle B, 5. No, hold on. So subtitle B 516. Okay, so it's code section 516. Let's go to section 516. Police guiding pilot program, substantial aviation. Just want to make sure I get it right. No. Actually, let's go back up to section B, and here reserve component. Under reserve component management. I try to highlight these things, but it wouldn't let me. So just just bear with me. Okay, mobilization inquiry, subtitle A. Okay, program restriction. Okay, the measure increased capacity. Let me see. 5. Now that's subtitle B. So I have to go to military. Okay, I have to go to military. Salaki, again, you have to bear with me. Oh, there you go. All right. So military personnel, right? Authorization, subtitle B. Okay. And strength military maximum. I know I've seen it. There you go. Oh, there you go. Salakia. It's right here. Subtitle B, reserve. I don't know if you can see it right there. Subtitle B, reserve component management. All right, for the military, because what's gonna happen is that this is in case of a national emergency. This bill was passed in case, let's say you might have, you end up having collapse of society, a national emergency. In case of a so-called, terrorism, civil war, just basically, a civilizational breakdown, a civil breakdown, and that's why this bill exists. And now, when you go to subtitle B, reserve component management, right, and section 516. Now section 515, right? Because remember, this is Adam Schiff wants the executive to be able to deploy National Guard in the United States soil, which really is unconstitutional according to the Posse Comitatus that was passed. I think it's 1816, whatever, that prevents the United States military on American soil. So I mean, but that's Edom Esau, all right? That's the devil that the Bible speaks of. He makes laws, he breaks them. His constant show of inconsistency is more proof that he has no business being the judge over the earth, right? We know this, all right? So section 515, it says in inspections of National Guard. It says section 516 says requirement of consent of the chief executive officer for certain full-time National Guard duty performed in state, territory, or the District of Columbia. All right. So basically, given the ability to make these moves, right, in the states, in all the different states, and including the District of Columbia. Why do they say that? Because D.C., right, in which I'm in with the brothers, and D.C. is basically one of those nation states, all right, like London and the Vatican. So it's one of those standalone states. So he wants to be able to send a National Guard and do these things without the approval of Congress, all right? Because, like you said, the executive branch need the approval of Congress. It's called checks and balances, which, again, the majority of Americans are totally oblivious. In particular, you Israelites, right? You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are totally oblivious of the laws. That's why we always behind the 8 ball, all right? We always find out about a law once we already in court facing insurmountable amounts of charges, and then that's when the lawyer is breaking things down to you, when you find out that you didn't really know your country as much as you thought you did. So let's keep going. Now let's go to subtitle C, section 524. All right, subtitle C, General Service Authorities and Military Records. All right, and I'm going to show you the importance of why Esau, and I've always made this statement, Esau is the devil that the Bible speaks of for a reason. He believes in he understands that to be able to establish consistent evil without repercussions in the world of men, it must be done through laws. All right, he knows that if he just goes out and does all this craziness that he's getting ready to do without passing a law that allows him to do that, then the rest of the earth is going to condemn him as being obviously the devil that he is. But if he's able to do evil deeds and wickedness under the pretext and under the covering of a law, right, a wicked law, then there's nothing you can say, because he will take you to the books and say, well, this is part of our laws. Okay. All right, so subtitle C, and General Service Authorities and the Military Records. Again, this is in case all hell breaks loose in society, which we inching closer and closer to that stage, whether it be through famine, lack of resources. We eventually that's gonna go down. Whether it happens in the end of 2022 or 2023. We at the doorsteps, all right, of these things being implemented. It says subtitle C, section 524. It says right here, section 524, elimination of time limit, and this is for you brothers that are in the military. If you're in the military, of course, that means you're probably watching videos, right? This is the bill that's been put up, and it will be passed. I promise you. The last ones dating back to Obama, which Obama introduced that back in 2011. All of them have been passed, so this will be no different. So this for you brothers that listen, that's in the military, all right, you must know that your time has come for you to make one of the most important decisions you will have to make as an Israelite that's still in the military, or getting maybe I would say maybe payments or whatever from the military, all right? So you got to make a grown man decision. It says elimination of time limit for mandatory characterization of administrative discharges of certain members on the basis of failure to receive C-19 VAC. All right, so basically your time has run out. You no longer will be able to hide. You will no longer be able to get the benefits that you've gotten. You know, Satan's cutting that out. All right, so brothers going to have to make decisions. You know, you got to finally just make that full step, man, and step out there and trust in Yehovah Shemel Shah. You know, it's time. The time is up when it comes to that. So now let's go to section 562, and that's the last section that I have for this. Section 562, and this applies to all of us, especially the prophets of the Lord that have been out there in the highways and the edges, beginning with our apostles and elders, a great millstone. So when I read this, I already knew, because we've known about this. We've been preparing for this for all these years. All right, we understand that we are what we are part of. It's not a game. All right, we understand that our enemy is not joking. All right, and the Lord is not joking. That's why the Lord is getting prepared for this. Subtitle G. This is under Subtitle G, Section 560. I'm gonna start at 561. It says information regarding apprenticeship for members doing initial entry training. So the member training and transition. It says information regarding apprenticeship for members doing initial entry training. Extremist activity by a member of the armed forces. All right. Well, actually, it's still talking about. So like, it's still talking about the military. By the way, it's not talking about really all of us, but it's still talking about the military, because they wanna make sure anybody that has any so-called extremist views gets cleansed out of the military. So because that's what's gonna basically help basically give orders to actually United States National Guard to go out and do atrocious things to their own citizens. You know, you have to make sure that they are not the military is not politically diluted, you know, have mixed views. You have to make sure everybody in the military believes, you know what I'm saying, 100% what the heads, the executive branch is doing. Whatever propaganda is getting pushed out. If the president say, hey, the people, go ahead, this whole neighborhood right here is a bunch of terrorists, you got to go in there and say, oh, the hell with the fact that they are American citizens. The executive branch said they're terrorists, they're extremists, got to go and get them. All right. So right here it says 62, section 562, extremist activity by a member of the armed forces, notations in service record, TAP counseling. All right. So basically, it's talking about any of the brothers that's in the military that have been watching videos and keeping up, you know, in the spirit and power of Yehovah Shemel Shah, growing when you still affiliated to the military to a certain extent, to any extent. Basically, they're tapping. They basically been watching you, the IP address, the whole thing. They know what you're doing, and with this bill right here, they're gonna crack down on you, and they're gonna come down on you heavy. All right, so that's what I picked up here. It's a lot more, but that's what I picked up here. Now let's move on to the one from this is the HR 4350. All right, and that was the one from last year, and I believe I made a video about this one, and this one, this is the one that really was pointed at us, you know, civilians. All right, so let's go to no, that's not it. Come on, man. Damn, we always skipping steps. Come on, let's go to right here. All right, so this is HR 4350. This one was the one from last year, right? And I'm just gonna go straight to page 11. All right, page 11. When it talks about, all right, page 11, and I'm gonna go under the subtitle of where are you? There you go. Subtitle H, diversity and inclusion. Section 500 and all right, 575. All right. So section 575. All right, GAO. All right. It says government authorized something. Or it says GAO review of extremist affiliations and well, government. No. A GAO stands for government authorized organizations such as, and I made a video about it last year. On the Southern Poverty Law Center. The Southern Poverty Law Center is a GAO, right? And then the Hebrew Israelites appeared on that list of the Southern Poverty Law Center amongst other so-called extremist groups like veterans, United States veterans and Bible extremists, whatever. You got the ADL, right? The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which is sponsored by the Jewish state. Basically, the money comes from Soros, and you have, and that's why I believe. And again, this is my belief through the Spirit. Guys like Vocab Malone definitely are agents of either the Southern Poverty Law Center or most likely the ADL. That's the reason why I personally wouldn't be going. I mean, we do what we gotta do in the Spirit, but like I stated at camp, if Vocab Malone showed up, I'll just tell him, hey, listen, I just see you when I see you. Meaning when when the same trials that Yahushua went through, the same trials that Paul went through, that's where you're gonna see people like that, Agent Rising or whatever. That's when you're gonna see them. If you out here thinking that you're gonna try to persuade him, he's not here to be persuaded. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's part of the GAO, government authorized organizations. All right, it says review of extremist affiliations and activity among members of the armed forces on active duty. All right, so this section 575. All right, so that applies again to the military. But why is that? Because the military is going to be forced to make moves against their own citizens very soon, and then most of them are not going to want to do it. So that's why they have to clean that on their place. So now let's deal with the next one that I have, and this goes all the way back to it's called a PDD 25. All right, this is PDD 25, and it's I think it's under definitions, page 26. But let's find out what's a PDD 25. A PDD 25 was it says this was on May 3rd, 1994. Who was the president? Bill Clinton. Arkansas Clinton. It says White House, Washington, May 3rd, 1994. And mind you, this is a presidential decision directive. That's what a PDD is. All right, and mind you, these are things that can still be used today. Once it's on the books, regardless of who's on power, they can basically utilize that whenever they wish, basically, especially if there's no checks and balances. All right, so we want to jump down to page 26, and this is something that came up. I was listening to this radio content, and I was like, oh man, and this dude talked about it. He brought this up. I was like, oh, because like I said, I was thinking about it last week, and like I said, I briefly spoke about it at camp, but there's the type of stuff where you actually have to make a video about it, man. And because if you go over it at camp and you got to bring documentations like this, it's just not, a lot of time, you kind of skim through it, but it's not actually the place to kind of do that. You know what I'm saying? So page 26, all right, it says definition. It says this annex provides the definitions useful for implementing the policy guidance, U.S. policy on reforming multilateral peace operation. Now you're talking about foreign troops. All right, foreign troops being allowed to enter into American soil to basically subdue the American people. All right, so you people out here, right? You idiots, you zombies here that do not. When we tell you, we speak about the Northern Command and all. We talk. It's in the books, man. We're not just running our mouth. This is in the books. That's why this edition is called the Watchtower, because the men of the Lord, the prophets, stand at the watch, and they see the invasion is coming, and our job is to warn the nation of Israel, in particular the elect, because the majority of you niggas, spakes, and wetbacks, 2/3, you're gonna die. There's absolutely nothing we can say, do. You're not gonna listen. Most of you gonna listen. You're gonna wag your head. You're gonna watch a video like this, be like, man, enough with this conspiracy theory. How can it be a conspiracy? I'm bringing out bills. I'm bringing out laws, amendments. So, it is what it is, man. We just going to do our part, multilateral peace operations actions taken by the United Nations under the authority of Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter by regional arrangements pursuant to Chapter 6, 7, 8 of the UN Charter by an HOC coalitions pursuant to a United Nations Security Council resolution under the authority of Chapter 6 and 7 of the UN Charter, consistent with Chapter 6 of the UN Charter, in order to preserve and maintain and restore the peace. All right. So in case all hell breaks loose in the United States of America, in case of a civil war or breakdown, if the National Guard, which we already talked about, the National Guard and the NDAA, if they can't handle it and things get out of hand, the next level is what? It's a multilateral peace operation where you actually invite troops from foreign lands to come out and subdue the people. And those troops will be vicious according to the Bible. I'm going to bring it. I'm going to show it. All right. So it says preemptive diplomacy, diplomatic actions taken to resolve disputes before violence breaks out. Peacekeeping, meaning this is when they're already in the land. All right. And who are the peacekeepers? That's what I had it right here. The peacekeepers, they're also known as the blue hats. Peacekeeping comprises activities intended to create conditions that favor lasting peace. Research in general finds that peacekeeping reduces civilian and battlefield deaths, as well as reduces the risk of renewed warfare. All right. And you trust and believe the history of these cats, the blue hats. Just do your research and you'll find out wherever they go to bring peace, the chaos just becomes even worse. All right. And then when you add the Northern Command to it, that's going to be a whole nother problem right there, because the Northern Command, which, you see right here, the Northern Command, it says what countries are in NORTHCOM, right, which we spoke about that. Areas of responsibility, U.S. NORTHCOMs. It says land and sea approaches and encompasses continental United States, Alaska, Canada, Mexico, and the surrounding water out of approximately 500 nautical miles. All right. So that's the Northern Command. So all these different nations, Canada, Mexico, all these different places will send troops to give aid to the American troops to neutralize you zombies, to neutralize you Israelites, man. Because you wild Negroes is going to wild out when all hell breaks loose, because you're not going to know your way from left to right. You're going to go to your basic instincts. You're going to be totally annihilated, man. And I'm going to prove that in the scriptures. So it says deployment of neutral military and or civilian personnel with the consent of the state or states involved, and more recently of all significant parties to the dispute, in order to assist in preserving or maintaining the peace. These are traditionally non-combat operations. Right, except for the purpose of self-defense, yeah, and are normally undertaken to monitor and facilitate implementation of an existing truce agreement, yeah, and that truce agreement is going to be putting you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans in concentration camps. That's going to be the peace agreement that you're going to have. It says, except for the purpose of self-defense, and are normally undertaken to monitor and facilitate implementation of an existing truce agreement and in support of diplomatic efforts to achieve a lasting political settlement of the dispute. Man, man, listen, when the Civil War breaks out and the civil unrest, you think that the government going to go out there and sit at the table and trying to come to an understanding with the people? The average American is dumber than a box of rocks. Man, listen. Peace enforcement, Salakia, Chapter 6, 7, peace operations, actions involving the use of force or the threat of the use of force authorized by the United Nations Security Council under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter to preserve, maintain, or restore international peace and security, or address breaches of the peace of acts of aggression. Such operations do not require the consent of the states involved, or other parties to the conflict. Wow. And it says Clinton Library. Wow, that's what's up. That is what you call tyranny right there, man. That is some rough stuff. That is something that you Americans are not used to, and but you're gonna get introduced to that, And I brought this out because this is what Esau always brags about, right? You Edomites who think that you got a chance of saving them, saving this land. This is the virgin daughter of Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. And you want to talk about all the Magna Carta this. I remember listening to Alex Jones. He always brings out this Magna Carta this, Magna Carta that. And it's like, dude, the Magna Carta, which going back to Great Britain, which is really, it's the cornerstone of the American Constitution. Do your history on that. All right, the American Constitution really stems from the Magna Carta. Well, the scripture tells you that the United States, her mother, is going to basically, in many words, beware her, be astonished at her fall, which the mother of Babylon is who? Is Great Britain. All right, and guess what? Whether it be Great Britain, they all going into under the New World Order of the international bankers. That's why you have, even in this picture right here, the Magna Carta, all these was a bunch of, you got the Knights Templar. I mean, it was just a bunch of BS. All right, Esau doesn't respect his own laws. He's always changing his laws, and in the end days of the last days which we are in, his laws are privately set to destroy the poor, and the poor are you Israelites. So now let's get some precepts, to back up all this information. First, we want to go to Psalms 94:20. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? The throne of iniquity is talking about Edom, Esau, Idumea, the Edomites. That's the throne of iniquity. Those are the rulers of the earth right now. All right. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? Who is thee? You Israelites, right? You making deals. You want to be a part of this new world order, this technology, the social media, blue chip mindset. What you're going to get eventually, you're going to sign up to get the mark of the beast, which we already know what that is, which is the microchip. Right hand, forehead, or wherever else you're going to want to put it. You ain't supposed to do that. It says, which frameth mischief by law. See, the things that I read in those bills, those are mischievous deeds, man. But he does that by law so that you can't get on his ass and say, yo, what are you doing? Because then he'll just show you the book. All right. Because in Esau's mind, it's like, I could do all types of wickedness as long as I have a law that prescribes, that allows me to do that. It says they gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous. Right. And that's to go after your soul. And I've been speaking about this, that Esau, more above him wanting to kill you physically and get you up out of here, he really destroy. He wants to destroy your soul, your spirit. He wants you to give up faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, because he's rejected of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, and he's bitter. He's eternally bitter. So his thing is, I'd rather you are alive physically and deny your power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, than you being dead and dying in faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. All right. It says they gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemned the innocent blood. All right. But the Lord is my defense, and my power is the rock of my refuge. All right. And that's the reason why, although we bring this, is some scary stuff, and we understand there's going to be a lot, it's going to be many casualties. Right. The Bible says there will be many casualties on all sides. But, we have faith that Yahweh Shai is going to step up, and he's going to do some miracles. All right. This says Psalm 64. It says prayer for deliverance from secret enemies. All right. Because these laws are open, but they're open secret, because they know you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are too stupid to go out there and look these things up. They know that you'd rather be out here lollygagging, bullshitting, getting into dramatic bullshit, right? Instead of being focused and understanding the season that you in and the type of mindset that it requires to survive in the times that we're coming into. All right. Psalms 64:1 to the chief musician, the Psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, and my prayer preserve my life from fear of the enemy. It's fearful, but we have faith. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And that's what it is, man. The insurrection, because that's the biggest, we're going to witness the biggest insurrection of all time, man. This is going to be a persecution of the ages, man. All right, a persecution of the ages. All All right. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. All right. Those are bitter words that's passing these laws, man. Now let's go to Psalms 119, 114. All right. It says, thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. So when it comes to us, we're going to hope in the word of Yahweh B'Shem Shah. So Esau can have all his plans and pass all his laws. And he sure believes that he has the power to do that. And he has, to a certain extent, he does have the power to do that. But the scripture says that the destruction that cometh is the destruction of the wicked. All right. So at the end of the day, the Most High said, hey, who that letteth let. All right. So he's going to let Esau have his last hoorah. But at the end of the day, the elect are going to be preserved. All right. And Lord willing, I'm a part of it. Lord willing, the ones that are listening, we are part of it. And that's what it's about. Isaiah 10:1, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. That's why in Revelation it says that it speaks about the beast with the two horns, which spoke as a lamb, right? But it was as a dragon, man. Which the word dragon goes back to Draco, which goes back to draconian measures, man. HR 4350, HR 79 that I just read was a 7920, PDD 25. All right, these are awful things, man, that they've prescribed. All right, the word prescribed means what? To write down as direction, law, or rule, right before it happens. So you write it down before you do it. So it legitimizes your actions. All right, because nobody's going to call the law evil, but there is such a thing as an evil law. Not every law is righteous. The only righteous laws is the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Shah. Everything else is wickedness, man. And it's all set up to oppress the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So let's finish with this. That's the 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 70. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection, an insurrection of the ages upon those that fear the Lord, upon you Israelites. There shall be like mad men. This is talking about the militaries, the northern commands, all right, the peacekeepers, upon you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans when all hell breaks loose, which were closer than you think. There shall be like madmen sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Those are the casualties. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall there be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. All right, so then you're going to know, because the men of the Lord are going to be protected. It's going to be made obvious. Certain men are going to be untouchable. Certain men are going to receive power to be able to defend themselves and their loved ones. All right, all these different things are going to happen in this time and space. All right, so prepare for that. And that's all I had. I know it was long, but through the Spirit, the Lord had me go as efficiently as possible. It's one of those things where you just got to do what you got to do. It's important information for the nation of Israel. Like I said, this is what's going on. This was another edition of the Watchtower, an insurrection of the ages upon Israel. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, B'Shem Shah, B'Shem Dash, the honors to our apostle elders, the great millstone. Shalom, salutation to you, say Akim, scores for 4 wins. Stay strong, stay faithful. Shalom.